Американская фирма Transceptor Technology приступила к производству компьютеров «Персональный спутник».
Bienvenidos amigos de YouTube a un nuevo video, una nueva entrevista. Volvemos a viajar a los 90s, al pasado de esa música fantástica, porque vamos a estar hablando con un artista que la rompió a principios de los 90s con un grupo que surgió en Alemania, que seguramente ustedes en Argentina, en toda Latinoamérica, en todo el mundo bailaron. Vamos a estar hablando con Penny Ford del grupo Snap. So I will say welcome Penny Ford, welcome to my YouTube channel. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Everything fine, Chad. Thank you very much for your time. It's such an honor to be talking with you. You know, your music was so popular during the 90s, you know, so popular. Here in Argentina there were a lot of greatest hits from Snap. And I read about your career. I know that you started in the 80s, you know, you had with your first solo album. And I know that you work with Chaka Khan, so I want to know about those curiosities, you know, your beginnings with music during the 80s.
Yes, well, before I was with Chaka, which was the late 80s,
Yeah.
I was with a group called the Gap Band, which is an R&B group. And I work with lots of groups on different levels. I did background, I did session singing, I even replaced a couple lead singers, because at that time, it was popular for the lead singer of a group to go solo.
Oh.
So when they would do that, they would call me up to come replace, you know, whoever it was. So I did that with SOS Band and with Climax, a all-female band from America.
Yeah.
And after I moved to Europe, well, that was after Chaka, you know. So I started with Chaka.
Yeah.
She and I moved to Europe, and then I started working with other bands like Soul to Soul and Massive Attack and like that, because I'm also a writer. So, you know, just all-purpose studio stuff.
Nice. Well, you had your first solo album was very popular. I read that were on the charts, you know, in UK and Europe. You looked so pretty in that record album, you know, in that car, you know, the LP. You know,
I know that was actually a 1941 Ford Roadster, so it's very, very antique car.
Yeah.
And they took better care of the car than they took care of me, but that was an amazing experience. And I just was on the phone with for the first time in a long time with the guy who wrote that first single with me, Oliver Scott, who was a member of the Gap Band. And they really had a great influence on my life. So that's where that album came from. And I was just on the phone with the guy. He just happened to call me today. So that's interesting that you know about that album.
Yeah.
And it did do well. I didn't find out until later, because at that time, the record companies, they didn't really tell you if your record was doing well. One, because they didn't want to pay you. And secondly, they didn't want your head to get so big that they couldn't control you. So, you know, but it was my first record. So my head was spinning, and, you know, I couldn't look at all these little business details that I do now, you know.
Yeah, of course, I know. So you say that first album, of course, that was very important on your career, you know. It was your first album like a solo artist. And then you say that you work with Chaka Khan. I love Chaka Khan. I'm a big fan of Chaka Khan, you know. So I want to know a few
Yeah.
curiosities just being there working with that awesome artist, you know, too, you know.
Well, she's always, since I was 10 years old, she was my favorite artist. I mean, like she was in my mind, she was the biggest angel and the greatest musician ever. So I spent a lot of my teenage years learning all of her stuff.
Yeah.
And it was easy because I loved it so much. So that when I did finally meet her and the space became available for me to work with her, I knew every string line, every bass line, every nuance of her music. And we worked together. She's still a very, very close friend of mine. And I think I just talked to her sister, Taka Boom, a few days ago. And I think Taka is going to be coming to Europe to do a couple gigs. But yeah, we're still in touch. And she has created so many wonderful things in my life. In fact, she was the one that sent me here to Germany to sing the Snap stuff. So
Wow.
yeah, we work together a lot in the studio. Like I could fashion my voice to sound exactly like hers. So sometimes if people wanted to present a song to her, they would have me sing it because they know I would sing it like she would want to hear it. Or sometimes if she didn't want to do like mundane studio stuff, she would send me to do it. And that's kind of what happened with the Snap thing. She just I think we're both jazz musicians at heart.
Yeah.
So we didn't really understand European dance pop at the time. But I, of course, was not Chaka Khan, so I needed the money.
No.
So I flew here to Germany and sang for 3 days on stuff that's iconic.
Wow. So wow, the destiny.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow. What was your first impression about Germany? You know, because you're a girl from the United States, you know, there are different cultures, you know.
Well, I just happened to be from a city called Cincinnati, Ohio, which is a very German city. I
Okay.
didn't know how important that would be later in my life to
Wow.
have grown up with German culture. All of my friends, even though many of them have never been to Germany. And so I already knew a lot of German stuff. It was hard to get used to it at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you why. Um, in America, you know, I always wondered why the villains in movies would be German. And you just okay, the Jewish people, many of them are the makers, they own the movie companies.
Yeah.
So they make the movies. So of course they make to them the monster is German. And
Yeah.
so when I got here, it was hard to make that distinction. I felt like I was in a bad Bruce Willis movie at first.
In those times, we were talking about Cold War, so you know those things too. You
Yes.
know.
Yes. So, but it's exciting to get to travel the world and go to explore so many different cultures and so many different places and to see, the world actually becoming westernized,
Yeah.
There's a lot of places. Everyone has shopping malls, everyone has arenas and, things that are inherently American, a lot of them. So, you know, it took a minute, but I also go hang out sometimes on the American military bases as well. If I miss Americans and need to be around them for a while, I can just go a little short distance and hang out on American soil with a lot of Americans. But Germany's great. I love Germany.
Nice, nice. And that the 90s was a great period of music. You were a part of this gold music too, you know, and I feel that that was fantastic. I feel that I don't know if you are conscious of this, you know, that you are part of the history, you know, you are part of history of music. I don't know if you see it that
I
way.
am. I am. At first, I didn't understand like what is happening
Yeah,
until I started to deal with a lot of people who survived wars, and the thing that kept them going was the snap music, and who had their children from this music. It gives them memories of good times in their lives or survival. So at that point, when I understood that, I began to understand the assignment. And the assignment is much bigger than the music. It's really healing and spreading joy
yeah.
to people around the world, which is a great job.
Of course, yeah.
Great job.
So, just talking about the beginning of Snap, you say that Chaka Khan was very important in the history. I want to know more details about these things, about this project, about the beginning of Snap.
Well, it was very, very simple. I mean, she and I had moved to London. We needed a change of atmosphere. LA, sometimes LA gets too crazy and you have to get out of there for a little while. Hollywood gets too crazy and
Yeah.
starts to take over your mind. And so we moved to London, and we still don't know to this day how these guys got her number.
Yeah.
But they called and asked if she wanted to be a part of a project, and she says, "No, I don't do rap." And she told me, she said, "You go do it because you need the money." And it's as simple as that.
Wow.
There wasn't like a long, drawn out thing. I came over and I sang crazy stuff for like 3 days, and here we are today, 34 years later.
Good. I watched on YouTube the video clip of Cult of Snap. I don't know how you were there on the video with a snake.
The crazy thing about that is that snake happened to belong to LaToya Jackson. It was her snake. And also the snake was called Lucifer.
No.
And I am a Christian.
Wow.
But so there were so many red flags going on.
Yeah.
But I remember saying to the producers, I said, I'm tired of just sitting there and have the cameras go around me. I want to drive a car or run down the street. Let's do something active. And they handed me the snake. And so I was not going to be defeated. So I actually had like a shot of tequila, and I took the snake, and I was determined that that snake and I, we worked that video together.
Yeah.
But actually, in full disclosure, the trainer was just off camera, just in case.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to let them defeat me. So I took the snake and did what I do and make things work. That's the first time anyone's ever asked me about the snake. That's interesting.
Oh yeah. Because I don't like a snake, so I say, "Wow, look this woman," with the snake on the arms.
I mean, I like all animals, but certain animals you keep your distance. There's a certain protocol in dealing with them. So I wouldn't say that snakes are my favorite, and I don't think I'd have a snake as a pet, but just in the interest of loving animals, I gave the snake a chance, and the snake worked with me. So I'm still here.
Well, if we talk about the history of Snap, we know that there is another great hit that was the Rhythms Dancer. I want to know because the story said that you finished your work with the Snap and you tried with your solo career during the 90s. I want to know why you took that kind of decision. Yeah.
I have to be absolutely honest with you. The original rapper Turbo and I could not get along.
Okay.
In fact, I don't mean to get on, media and bash him.
Yeah.
I have nothing against him, but he didn't understand how big we were. And he was trying to operate like a gangster rapper when that had nothing to do. So he caused a lot of things to happen that I did not want my career connected to. And these things are documented. One being he beat up 8 drag queens at an important AIDS benefit.
Well,
That's not good. You know what I mean? It's not good for your career. It's just not good for life,
yeah.
Especially if you know anything about my sister, Sharon Red, that was an absolute no-go. And then, at some point he started to attack me, and I did not feel like I had the protection around me.
Mm-hmm.
So I left. And I don't think I realized how much money I was walking away from, but I did it in the interest of my career, my livelihood, and my own very own life, because I wasn't sure what he would do at that time. And so I left the group and moved back to America.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I would have to. I mean, I'm. What was your initial question? You want a rhythm as a dancer? That's it. So I moved back to America, and I thought that I would have to start all over again in the writing rooms and stuff. But when the American record companies found out that I was not signed to Snap, they started a bidding war to sign me. So I eventually settled with Columbia.
Oh.
And I signed a major solo deal with Columbia, and that's Sony. And at the time, Sony and BMG had not joined together yet. So that meant contractually that I could not sing anymore for Snap.
Wow.
However, I had a publishing deal with a BMG company, so I could write for Snap. So the guys called me up, and they paid me a bit of money to bring over another Black American singer.
Yeah.
And I knew 2 or 3 people at that time, and it just things came together, and I was able to bring Thea Austin over. And so she would be the singer. I would get to write, so I could still make publishing. And but I couldn't sing under my contract with Columbia. And these are things that people don't know, these little contractual details that, remain a mystery over the years. Like, why did she leave? Why did this and why did that? Who was Thea Austin? Where did she come from? But I brought her to this situation. And every other chick that sang with Snap, I actually handpicked them and brought them to the situation, as I could not do the records contractually at the time. So that's the story. That's what happened.
If you could go back in time, would you change something of your career, or not?
Yes, I definitely, I regret leaving Snap when I did, but I got a really great solo deal. I got to do the work that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I got to write with amazing people like Joni Mitchell and the guys from the group Chicago and Greg Fillinganes from Michael Jackson's band. I got to do the music I'd always wanted to do, but it didn't really have anything to do with European pop or whatever. But I probably, if I had it to think about, I probably wouldn't have left, my money like I did or not to make it all about money, but you know, I did walk away from a great deal of money.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
And I probably wouldn't, you know, I don't have many regrets. I really think out everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest is, you know, my faith and my belief. I mean, I'm not churchy, but
Mm-hmm.
I am a believer
Okay.
in Jesus Christ. So I believe that I've always had angels around me. And sometimes you have to listen to that little voice that you hear. You can't ignore it. And even if it's telling you something that you did not think
Mm-hmm.
you wanted to do, or even if it's telling you to go in a direction. I mean, I never sat down and said, I think I'll move to Germany, you know, but it was the little voice that created the circumstances, and being obedient to that, you know, can lead you to your destiny if you listen to the angels when they talk to you in your head.
Yeah. So nice message. I love it. I love it. So nice. So nice. Just the last one. If you want to send a message to all the fans, around the world, I think that this is a good opportunity.
I would say to the people of the world, first, thank you. Thank you so much for my life. Thank you so much for your support. And thank you so much for actually feeling what it is I'm doing. You know, we work a lot with feelings, and thanks for letting me share your happy times, your liberated times, your childbirths, your weddings, all the important moments in life that you have connected my music to. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. And I really try to get to all of you. And I would say never stop thinking your dreams, because you make them happen in your head. This is your first line of defense. Is if you can see it, then you can be it. And you know, I definitely have had all of my dreams. I think there's maybe one or two things that I still need to
Okay.
do. Like, one is seeing the Northern Lights. I have not been there to actually see them, but I
Okay.
plan on doing that.
Nice.
And you know, but I'm constantly checking things off my bucket list as I get to experience them.
Mhm.
But I would say don't ever stop dreaming, and make your dreams come to life. Don't get defeated, no matter what's happening in the world, because a lot is happening in the world. But stay up and always remember, I hate to be
Mhm.
corny, but you have the power
Yeah,
to
so true.
change things. If you don't like what's happening, you have the power to change things in your life and in your surroundings. So that's great.
Thank you very much for your time. It was very funny. How I said, I really love it. I really love your music. I didn't live the 90s because I'm not in those. I was not in those periods, but I love your music, and I don't have any words. But thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Have a nice day there. Okay.
You too.